Well, it's the top of the hour, so we should get started. As always, let me introduce myself. My name's Gar Whaley. I'm the co-founder and CRO here at Teal. Today, I'm joined not only by my partner in crime, our Chief Technology Officer, Chief Information Officer, and Chief, what's your,
Intelligent Transformation Officer.
say it again, Reed?
Intelligent Transformation.
Fantastic. But also by Jill Williams, who is our Vice President of Finance and Accounting. And she joined today because she has a lot of great ideas about how to use Copilot in Excel and as part of her everyday life. So we're going to let her kick off with some of the things she does every day. Jill, can you share your screen and get us started?
I would be happy to. Thank you. I am super excited to be here. I'm going to start with how we use Copilot as a natural language prompt to help us with our formulas, things that we're not entirely sure how to do. I use Copilot a lot when I'm working on trial balances, working on balance sheets by quarter, breaking things down and manipulating the data. Sometimes I don't know exactly the formula I want to use because Copilot or Excel, as you know, has a ton of different formulas. So one thing that I have been using Copilot for is create a formula that does this thing that I need. And I explain in my natural language, it matches the account name from this column to the other tab and pulls over the data. I use this a lot every single month. Actually, I use the same workflows. So using Copilot helps me get it done a lot faster. And I just wait for Copilot to work on my answer.
So while it's waiting, Jill, can you just repeat sort of what you're trying to do there?
So for this one, I pull in data from the trial balance that's updated based on the quarter that I'm working on. I pull it over to this balance sheet, and then I use that to input into some of our different systems that we do reporting, as part of our peer groups and other things. And this helps me organize that data and then upload it quickly. So Copilot has come up with a formula. The thing that I like about it is it will always tell me what the formula does and then give me alternatives if I don't want to use the first one that it gives me. I usually use the first one because it's almost always just what I need, but I have noticed Copilot has a habit of breaking up lines when
Mhm.
it should be all on the same line. So have to do a little manipulation to get it.
You're just formatting.
I'm
Um,
just formatting the code that it outputted.
so, Reed, you mentioned in an earlier Copilot webinar that it was using Python, and this went so fast. Was it using Python for this?
Not here. This just looks like an Excel formula. Yeah. Python would be used. If it's using Python, it's going to create a new sheet and then it's going to start writing that Python code. So this is
Yeah,
pretty cool.
so it's pulled over the data that I need, and if I look here, this is the information that it's pulling, and it's doing a match, and it's using some trimmed up words to make it a little bit simpler, but I use this probably at least once a week doing different things.
So,
So
Jill, how did you used to do it before Copilot?
I would just manually go equals, click, enter, and then
For
copy
every row in that
for
spreadsheet?
every, yeah. Yeah, it was really time consuming. So the more things that I can do automatically, this obviously simplifies it. And if I don't know the formula, this is the best way to come up with it because I don't know X match and X lookup as well as I know some of the other standard formulas.
Yeah, and I would describe you as a sort of a heavy, sort of an expert Excel user, not an average Excel
Yeah,
user.
absolutely. Absolutely.
So I use it all the time, and I'm maybe an average or below average Excel user. What was the other thing
That's
you wanted to show
So
us?
that's the first one. The second one is a reconciliation. So sometimes when we're doing scorecards or we're doing other different kinds of reporting here at the company, I need to reconcile two sets of data and see where the changes are. So this is just an example, some output that has been anonymized. I have data set one and data set two. So 2 different weeks. Imagine it's 2 different weeks of data, and I want to figure out what's different between the two, but I don't want to go through the whole hullabaloo of looking at every single line. So in this example, I will ask Copilot to please reconcile. Oh, I have it, the two tables. I have the two tables named, but I can't remember what I named them. So we'll let Copilot run on that.
So while it's running on that to see if that works, you said the word hullabaloo, which I won't ask about, but um, do you also use Copilot in your spreadsheets? A lot of times when the spreadsheet first pops up, it'll say Copilot has some I don't know, help me out, Reid. It has some suggestions right off the bat. Do you ever use that?
Sometimes, but it depends on what I'm looking at. You know,
Yeah, they try to provide context-aware
right.
prompt suggestions as those little buttons at the bottom, right above where you prompt.
Yeah, so what I'm talking about is I have some simple spreadsheets that are like have pivot tables and types of meetings I've been in, and it'll come up and says, click this button to allow to see what Copilot analysis has. And I've never used it.
Yeah, this is interesting. The output is a little bit hard to read. Sometimes I'll get it'll do the reconciliation and it'll pop up in a totally new spreadsheet. And I'm not sure if I just typed it wrong or asked it wrong, but it does provide me the items that are missing or mismatched.
I mean, that's pretty clear to read, and you did type it. The prompt was different than you normally do because you said
Yeah.
you usually use the named
Yeah, I
tables or
usually
named
use the
fields,
name tables, right?
but I'm sure you could prompt it to say
Mm-hmm.
in a separate spreadsheet.
Absolutely.
Well, that's fantastic, Jill. Thanks for sharing those. We'll have you on again in the future. Help me ask Reid questions because he goes really fast and he's got a lot of cool stuff.
All right.
And sometimes I miss the questions. But Reid, we've left you a few minutes to go into a few other cool things. So if you want to share your screen, one of the things we were talking about is the sidebar and edge.
Yeah, so this is pretty cool. This is available to everybody, whether you have a Copilot, monthly license that you're paying for or not. So here I'm in my browser. I've got my little Copilot icon here at the right side. I can click on that and it'll open up a panel. And this panel now, oh, it wants me to sign in again, of course. Let's do that real quick. Through the magic of technology, doing it live, right? Maybe I can just close it and maybe that's something else. But it'll open up a panel here on the right-hand side, and Copilot can interact with my browser window. So before I actually do that, let's show how you turn this on in case you don't have this turned on in your browser. So you go up to the three little dots in the upper right corner. You'll go down to settings, and then it's under this appearance section. All the way at the bottom, there's Copilot and Sidebar. And you'll want to click on that. And this is where you can turn this on or turn this off. So for me, it was off before, and I turned it on ahead of this meeting. And now I have access to this in my browser. And you'll notice that I have work and web, and I have work because I've got that $30 a month license. But if you don't have that, you can still use it, and you just have web, which lets Copilot not access your data, but access the data in the cloud. So that's pretty cool. So where this is useful is if you're in a page and you want to analyze the data. So here I'm at a Microsoft page and they have you got pop-ups and everything going on here, but they've got different pricing for different Microsoft 365 products. So I can say, help me compare these plans in the browser, create a comparison table. Oh, of course, says it's unavailable. This is what happens when we do it live. Let's see if we can, let me try to sign in again here. Request wasn't sent.
You ever use this one, Jill?
I have used the Copilot on different websites just to quickly get the information consolidated, because sometimes, you get to a page and it's a huge long article, or, you're doing research and you just want to get the high level points.
So you to be specific, the feature that Reid's showing now within Edge.
Yeah, mine was turned on. I just opened Edge one day and I saw it there, and I use Copilot for everything, so that's my natural instinct, is to hit that first when I'm looking for something.
Yeah, I'll point out that this could be turned off by your IT team. We have ours on purposely because people use it. Was that the problem, Reid?
I had to authenticate. So I was getting those authentication prompts. But so I've got my prompt, help me compare these plans. It's looking at this page, and I'm going to expand this a little bit so it's a little easier to see. Now it put these in a nice little comparison table. And I could ask a follow-up question. I could say, okay, what is the 5-year total cost of ownership for each plan? Add it to the table. I mean, imagine if you're doing product or service research and you're looking at a page that's got a lot of information, and it'll help you analyze that data right there. Pretty neat.
Yeah, that's awesome. The way that this came to my my mind initially is I was reading, I had a MRI on my knee, and I was reading it in Edge. And obviously I don't speak MRI, so Edge, I just clicked on Edge, and I clicked on Copilot within Edge, and it was able to sort of put that into basic English for me.
Yeah.
I use it every day, all day now.
Yeah, not only for comparing data that might be in the tab, but explain it to me in layman's terms. Help me understand it. I don't understand what this is talking about. Rather than copy and paste out of your browser into a separate Copilot chat window, you just ask it right here. So
right,
pretty neat.
It's also great, because I use OWA or Outlook in the web, so I can click on it right there and summarize some of the long emails that you send me.
Yeah.
By the way, Reid, I got a question that we didn't really talk about that I'm going to sort of throw out there at the end if we have time. But there's a couple other cool things that we wanted to show that are relatively new for Copilot. One of which is, I believe, the audio recaps in Teams.
Yeah. So this is pretty neat. When you have a meeting recording, you can get an audio recap of that recording. So say you're driving and you just want to listen to a recap of the meeting, or maybe you're exercising, going for a walk. But the really neat part about this is you can get a summary of multiple meetings over a period of time, all rolled up into a recap. So I'm going to search here for meet. It's kind of buried in some of the menus here. But you can see I've got all my different meetings that are coming up and meetings that I've had. There's this audio recaps at the top of the screen. And I've created a couple of audio recaps. We can't play them, obviously, because we're doing this live here. But if I click new, what it will do is it will let me select which of the last days of meetings do I want audio recaps from. So I could say, okay, the last 2 weeks, I want it to sound like it's maybe a newscast. And I can pick the meetings that I want included in that recap and hit generate. And what it's going to do is it's going to go through the transcript of those meetings, and it's going to generate a podcast style recap of those meetings. So what that looks like here, I did one for a tabletop exercise that we did. It broke it up into different chapters, and basically I could hit play and go for a walk and get a nice recap of what this meeting was like, or what multiple meetings were like over a period of days. So if I was gone on vacation, I can come back and tag all the meetings that I missed and get a nice recap, get back up to speed. And then if I want to dive into more details, I could go into each meeting later. So
do you use this one, Jill?
I haven't. I didn't even know it existed. This is awesome.
Yeah, this is sort of a new feature. And since Reid and I talked about it last week, he's actually done a little bit more deep analysis of it, because I thought it was simply you just go into the meeting and you hit the audio recap for that meeting. I didn't know you could do, the multiple meetings.
Yeah, if you go into this meet section, this is neat. We haven't talked about this before. This gives me a recap of all of my recent meetings as well as meetings that are coming up. And there's that audio recap section at the top, and that's where I can tag all of those audio recaps from all of those meetings going back 30 days. Maybe I should take a 30-day vacation and just catch up on all those meetings.
Well, next time I'm out of the office, I'm definitely going to use this.
Well, wait till you see the next one. So the next one and the last one, um, try to make it a little bit quick so we can stick to our 20 minutes, but
Yep.
I think it's called Play Highlights.
Yeah, this is pretty neat actually as well. So this is the same incident response tabletop that I had the audio recap for. It's kind of what Gar mentioned is you can click audio recap right inside of any individual meeting to generate the recap there. But if you click on watch in browser, it's going to open up a new browser window. And this, I'm going to pull my Copilot thing off to the side here. And you'll see there's a button that says play highlights. So this is going to be a mini audio and video recap of, I'm going to close this, a mini audio and video recap of this meeting. And we're not going to be able to hear it, but this is going to show, here's Gar and I in the meeting. We have it recorded. It made a short 2-minute clipped video with audio summary of the major things that we talked about in this meeting. That is really cool.
Have you seen that one, Joe?
No, that's definitely new.
Yeah. So, for example, use case, we have a weekly leadership team meeting, and sometimes somebody has to miss it. Instead of watching the whole, hour and 90-minute meeting, because it's an EOS meeting, you can watch the highlights.
Yeah. And you can see here, I opened up the transcript. It's giving, you can probably read a little bit of this here. Reid demonstrated the incident management database. The team simulated a data spillage event. It's explaining it in the third person, talking about what Gar and I each said during the meeting. And it clipped a 1-hour meeting down to 2 minutes and 41 seconds with the video snips of when we were talking about those things, which is really neat.
So those last two that Reid talked about are brand new. We're just out of time, but Reid, it turns out that I had a conversation with Carolyn, who attends a lot of our tips and tricks and Copilot webinars, and she had called me just to ask a question, and hopefully I answered it for her correctly. But I said I'd bring it up on this one, and you haven't heard this question yet, so I'm sort of I'm not sure what the word. What is the word? What
You're going to surprise me?
Yeah, I'm surprising you. But sort of what are the out of the gate recommendations we have for our clients around AI? If they haven't done anything, what are some of the recommendations that we give them?
Yeah, well, that's a pretty big topic, but I guess I would start with, before you implement really any AI solution, get together as an organization and identify what the rules are going to be. What data should we put into AI? What systems are we allowed to use? How do we want to roll it out internally? It really helps to have a champion in your organization that's going to drive implementing AI, either in one department or kind of cross department, and then bring in the different people in the organization that are in those different departments that can provide input and provide feedback as they're testing it. But set the rules first and then get the people together. Microsoft has a great roadmap for how to do this. They have a whole AI adoption toolkit that includes a lot of the documentation and examples. And we're concerned about security. So before you turn on the licenses, make sure that you know who has access to your data, because Copilot will surface that information that your users may not know they already have access to. So yeah, it starts with planning. I know a lot of people want to just jump in and start using it, but it really starts with planning.
Yeah, I mean that's essentially what I told her. I mean, succinctly said, we talk about AI readiness and planning, policy, and then governance before you even jump into it. But those are some of the things. So thanks for sharing that. Sorry, surprised you with that, but she did ask it, and I told her I'd bring it up on this one. So she's can't see if she's attending, but she'll let me know. But anyways, we went 2 minutes over, but she did have that great question, so I wanted to share it here. Jill, thanks so much for joining
Thanks
us
for
for
having me.
Excel. Reid, thanks for sharing your knowledge. Folks, thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time on Microsoft Tips and Tricks or Copilot Tips and Tricks. Have a great day.
Take care.
Thanks a lot.